Hi there, Tina Vanderwerker with Berkshire Hathaway Clifton Park office. It's Tuesday, so it's time for Tina's Tuesday tip. Today I'm going to talk about some mistakes that buyers make when they're looking to purchase a home. One of the mistakes that people make is that they don't think about being pre-qualified before they want to start the search. And what that does, there's a few different problems with that. One is you don't know how much you can buy. So you might want to start looking at houses that maybe are $250,000 to $300,000, but actually you can only spend $200,000, or maybe you can spend $350,000. There's really no way to know unless you've met with a lender who can talk to you about your financial situation, what you feel comfortable with monthly payments, and about how much closing costs are going to be, and those kinds of things. So it's very important to be qualified by a local reputable lender. The second thing is to choose a real estate agent who is not committed to building a relationship with you. So a lot of times I've been called, from people that, they just want me to show them that one house, or if it's my listing, they'll want me to, contact them about just my listing. And then they try to call around to all the different listing agents, in order to see those houses. If you pick one realtor, and we can show you any house on the market. So you pick one realtor, we can build that relationship. We can have a meeting with you. We can know what you're looking for. That way, if we see something, we can say, oh, well, Johnny was looking for something like this, so I can give him a call. Or as we look at different houses, I can give you advice as to, what would work with this house for you, what wouldn't work for this house. You didn't like this other house that's similar because of these things. And I can kind of steer you in the right direction to make sure that you're not wasting your time, looking at houses that you either can't afford or really aren't going to work for your situation. Another mistake that people make is not doing a home inspection. It's one thing if you're an investor and you're going to be, gutting the house anyway. So, you might want to not bother with the inspection because it's not going to really help you decide one way or the other if you're going to make the purchase. But when you're looking for a house to live in, it's very important to understand all of the systems of the home and to make sure that all of them are working properly. Now, granted, they are working just properly at the time of the inspection and anything can happen afterwards, but at least when you're working with the inspector, you get a good sense of how the house runs and things that you might want to be aware of for maintenance. The other issue that people use is to limit your search to just open houses or whatever you can find on the internet. Our listings from the MLS do go to the internet, but sometimes they're under contract and, that doesn't show up right away. Or, if you just go to a bunch of open houses, you might not be, looking at the right properties for you. And, again, you're just kind of wasting your time. It's fine once you've met with an agent to then go ahead and say, okay, we're going to go to some open houses just to get an idea of square footage or decorations or things that we want to look at. But, just running around town looking at open houses is not really the most effective way to use your time. Thinking that there's only one perfect house for you out there is also a mistake that buyers make. There are a lot of houses available, and a lot of them have, check a lot of the boxes that you may have on your wants and needs list. But, there are multiple houses that could make it work if you look at the right things and if you have somebody who's able to, look at the different options that are in a home and say, okay, well, if you want this office, go ahead and turn this bedroom into an office. Or what about, putting your dining room in the living room and then reversing the rooms so that, you have that extra space that you're looking for. So you want to bring a professional with you to determine like, okay, this might meet my needs, and I didn't really think that it would. You also want to think long term. This is not something that may be working, it's something that might work for you now based on your lifestyle. But if you think about what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years, are you planning to move to another town, or do you really want to be closer to work? Do you want to be closer to family? Now, can you work from home? There's a lot of different things that you can think of that you may not be thinking of right now. You also want to make sure that you purchase adequate insurance. Everybody is required to get homeowners insurance. Usually we tell people to do that about a month before closing so that you make sure that you have enough time, because they do often send someone out to, look at the home on the outside, take some pictures, and just make sure that they have adequate coverage for you. And that's part of it too, is making sure, do you get replacement costs or do you get reimbursements? And, you can, as a realtor, we have relationships with insurance people so that we can point you in the right direction so that you can, bundle it with your car insurance or, go to a completely different person if we can get you a better rate. You also want to make sure that you know the total costs involved. So there's closing costs, there's insurance costs, there's appraisal fees, attorney fees, all of those kinds of things. As a buyer, the one thing you don't pay is a realtor fee. So the realtor commission is usually paid for by the seller. Not always. Sometimes, they only offer a certain amount and then we go to the buyer for a remainder. But for the most part, a buyer does not have to pay anything in order to use a realtor to help them with their purchase. But it's important to know, all the different costs, how much money you're going to need to save. And that's why it's important to meet with that lender initially so that they can give you all that idea about your closing costs. And then the last thing is to, people don't follow up. It's a mistake if you don't do your due diligence. So, you want to know if a school district is important to you, then you want to make sure that you research that. You want to make sure that, if you're 30 minutes from work, then you want to make sure that you know that that's the area that you want to be in. If there's any other conditions or important questions that you want to know before making an offer on a home, we want to make sure that those are taken care of. Do you need to be closer to family? Do you need to be closer to work? Those kinds of things. So all of those mistakes can be avoided if you use a realtor so that they can build that relationship with you. They can give you information on the vendors for insurance and for the lenders. And, we can help you through the entire process. So I am happy to help. My number 518-598-9973, or you can email me, cvanderwerker@bhhsblake.com, or you can message me on Facebook or Instagram, and I am happy to meet with you and go over the process all over again. Talk to you soon.